Well, at the moment, because while that negotiation went on,
yes.
There were several publications and reports that the state authorities had said that some of the reasons why they're going in there is because criminals, kidnappers, usually when they carry out the operations, they hide their victims there before they eventually disappear into thin air. Did you hear any of such argument? Did they bring it before that conversation or negotiation?
We have heard what the state government has been saying in their public statements. And when we were in the court ordered mediation, what we tried to do is we said, whatever your concerns are, because they've mentioned different things at different times. They have different justifications, although the truth of it is that it's a land grab. It's about taking over the land because it's very valuable. They have mentioned different things. They've mentioned environmental concerns. They've mentioned security. They've mentioned physical planning laws. They just throw everything at the issue to try to justify what's happening. And what we said during the mediation, what we've been saying even before the mediation process, which of course the mediation process was ordered by the court, we said there are alternatives. There are better ways of handling each of these different concerns that you're raising. If the government is genuinely committed to trying to address these concerns, what you do is you dialogue with the communities to find solutions. If it's a security problem that they're concerned about, partner with the community. The last speaker was just talking about community policing. The communities actually have structures on ground to secure their communities, to partner with the police. But they're facing a lot of difficulties getting that partnership from the police because of corruption in the police force. But we said you can strengthen community policing and you can address security concerns. What happened on Sunday was not a security operation. Because if there were, in fact, criminals in that community, none of those criminals were arrested. All of them are still at large, if in fact. And what we actually saw were women, children, fishermen, elderly, infirm, being chased into the lagoon into boats. None of them was apprehended. None of them is facing prosecution for any kind of crime.
But do you believe that criminals are harbored in those areas?
I don't believe it. I have spent a lot of time in Otodo Gbame community. It's a peaceful community. I have never faced any kind of threat or kidnapping or any kind of issue, not even petty pickpocketing or anything. It's a very safe, peaceful community. When you go into there, or when you went into there before the demolitions, you actually felt like you were going into a small village. It didn't feel like the heart of Lagos. And so the picture that is being painted, it's basically a smear campaign. And the security incidents that the government is picking on to try to justify, they're not even happening in this area. This community is in Lekki, in Etiosa. The incident at Ishao, that's around Ikorodu. The incident of kidnapping last year was at Epe. Okay. We're not even talking about the same part of the state.
Right. We'll come back to you in a moment, Megan. Just give us a moment. We'll be back. Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Well, we've been trying, and we will keep trying to get Lagos State government to respond to this, because at the moment, they say they're not able to, unfortunately, respond to this yet. We've got still some time to get Markwe's question in. Markwe?
Well, just quickly, then my question will be, you say you work with the urban poor. That's the work that you've done, and you've tried to mediate between the government on the one hand and the people of Otodo Gbame on the other hand. What solutions would you proffer for, government who is seeking perhaps to remove slums from certain areas, perhaps as you pointed out, for land grabbing purposes, and people who really maybe started as a small community and seem to spread over time? What are the solutions to this urban problem?
Thank you very much. It's a great question, and like I said, at each stage of mediation or negotiation, or just anytime we have an opportunity, we talk about the solutions that are the options, the alternatives that are available. If government wants to eradicate slums, they don't do it by clearing slums, by doing demolitions, because anytime you do a demolition, it just shifts the population from one place to another. People don't disappear from the city, they don't leave. They just go, and maybe another slum community will expand, or a new one will be created elsewhere. So you're just shifting the problem from one place to another. The best solution that has been seen in different parts of the world is a process called in situ upgrading. You work with the community where they are, where they have their economic and social fabric of the community intact. You harness community savings, which is actually one of the modalities that the Nigerian Slum and Informal Settlement Federation uses. They have savings, they have access to soft loans to do community development projects. So there should be partnership between the government and the community. You come up with a layout, you come up with a prototype for an affordable type of housing that residents can build for themselves that is in line with physical planning standards. The government ensures that proper infrastructure is brought into the community, and then there's a time and a process for doing the upgrading. It doesn't even require that much investment from government. It just takes commitment, partnership. Normally the community and the government will go into a memorandum of understanding before they start that process. And the government does its part to ensure that there's security of tenure in that community, which means that the community can invest in upgrading their housing, upgrading the infrastructure without fear that they're going to be evicted in the coming months or the coming years. They have a guarantee that when they invest, they can actually invest in their futures. And even at the end of February, we went on exchange to Nairobi with government officials from the Lagos State government so they could see some of these in situ upgrading solutions, best practices that are being used in Nairobi. And there's so many examples in other countries, India, Brazil, South Africa, where these things are working. And we know that they could work here in Lagos, but there has to be sincere commitment from the government.
And you don't think that you've seen that yet? We
haven't seen it yet. I think there are people within the government who believe this should work, who want this to work, but the incentives, as we've been talking about, to take over valuable land, push people away, are too strong. Market forces and no check on that. There's complete lack of rule of law in this case. All these demolitions that have taken place since November have been in contravention of a court order. That, in a normal society, a court order saying that no demolition should take place should be enough to stop the demolition from taking place. Okay. But we're seeing, obviously there must be very strong incentives on the other side.
Are you able to estimate the population?
Yes.
How many people there?
Before the demolition that happened in November, there was over 30,000 people living in Otodo Gbame community.
And how many are remaining? Right. They're all displaced?
As of now, there's no one living in the community because they were chased out of there on Sunday night.
Okay. Megan Chapman is the co-director, Justice and Empowerment Initiatives. Thank you for coming on this morning, and stay safe.
Happy to be here. Thank you very much.
All right, there you go. That's the show today. We thank you all for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain Uso.
I'm Gimba Umar.
Well, definitely very heart-rending scenes there from Otodo Gbame. We do hope that the Lagos State government will respond to this. Thank you for watching. I'm Maokwe Ogun.